Hey everyone, and welcome to our final week of Zoom! During Zoom, we've been zooming into and out of the first 5 books of the Bible: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, the book of Moses. Together they're called the book of Moses because God used Moses to write them.
Today we'll be zooming into and out of the book of Deuteronomy. We'll zoom in and look at some of the different stories in Deuteronomy, and we'll zoom out to see what Deuteronomy shows us about God. Before we get started though, let's answer a family question. Have you ever moved to a different house before? What sort of things did you have to remember for the big move? So pause the video and answer the family question.
As usual though, we'll be zooming in and out in a really fun way. I'm going to show you a picture of something from really close up. Every few seconds the picture will zoom out a little bit until you can see the whole thing. When you think you know what it is, shout the answer with your family.
Let's zoom into our first zoom. It's a house! After wandering in the desert for many years, the Israelites were finally getting ready to cross the promised land, the new home that God had promised them. On the count of 3, jump up and show your family your best celebration dance. 1, 2, 3. Yeah! I think my head was up there.
Now freeze! There was one problem. Because Moses had disobeyed God in the desert, God didn't allow him to enter the promised land with the Israelites. On the count of 3, I want you to sit down and show your family your most dramatic fake cry. 1,
Oh, wait.
1, 2, 3. Freeze!
Again? In the book of Deuteronomy, Moses knew it was going to be his last chance to give the Israelites instructions. Let's find out what he told them with the next zoom. It's a ruler! Moses told the Israelites to remember the special rules that God wanted them to live by. Most of these rules came from the 10 Commandments. 1. No other gods beside God.
2. No idols. Worship only God.
3. Always treat God's name with respect.
4. Have a day of rest and thank God every week.
5. Obey your parents.
That's a good one. 6. Do not hurt others with words or actions.
7. Keep your promises to others and God.
8. Do not steal from others.
9. Always tell the truth.
And 10. Do not be jealous or envious of others. Wow, nice work. God wanted the Israelites to remember the 10 Commandments because He knew that following these rules is the best way to live. God also wanted everyone to know that the Israelites were special because they followed him. By living differently from all the other people, the Israelites would stand out big time. The other nations around them would see that the Israelites were living the best way, and then God blessed them. Moses had one more important thing to tell the Israelites before he died.
Let's zoom to see what else Moses told the Israelites. It's a handshake. Shake the hands of someone next to you in your family and say,
"You've got a deal!" A handshake is what you do when you make an agreement with someone. When the Israelites were wandering in the desert, they made a special agreement with God called a covenant. God promised the Israelites that he would love them, take care of them, and give them a new land. In return, the Israelites promised to worship only God and live by his commandments. Moses wanted the Israelites to remember their covenant with God when they moved into the promised land. Let's do a final round of Zoom. What do you say, Preston?
"It's an eagle!" Moses wanted the Israelites to remember all of the ways that God had cared for them in the past. He said that God was like an eagle who guarded his baby eaglets.
God hovered over them to protect them. He caught them and lifted them up when they fell. He helped them soar to the highest places in the land, and he fed them the finest foods. No other God was with them, only the one true God. God knew that if his people remembered how he had cared for them in the past, they would trust him to care for them in the future.
Finally, after Moses finished talking to the Israelites, he went off by himself into the desert where he died. With Joshua as their new leader, the Israelites were now ready to enter the promised land. Well, it's time for a big Bible story question. What do you think the book of Deuteronomy shows us about God? After hearing about the book of Deuteronomy, how do you think you should live your life differently? Pause the video and answer this question.
Wow, God sure wanted the Israelites to remember a lot of stuff. In fact, there's 23 times in the book of Deuteronomy that God tells his people to remember something.
That sounds like me. When your parents have a lot of things they want you to remember, do they ever write it all down for you? That's basically what God did in the book of Deuteronomy. God knew that Moses wasn't going to be with the Israelites when he crossed into the promised land. So he had Moses write everything down that the Israelites needed to remember in the new land.
Yeah, I always write things down for you to remember. God wanted his people to remember the rules he gave them. He wanted them to remember the big agreement he had made with them. But more than anything, God wanted the Israelites to remember the amazing things he had done for them.
That's what our Bible verse is for today. Good job. Let's take a look at it. Remember the days of long ago. Think about what the Lord did through those many years. Deuteronomy 32:7.
Wow. Why do you think God wanted the Israelites to remember all of these things, Preston?
God wanted the Israelites to remember the things he had done for them, so they could have courage in their new land. Sometimes it can be scary when you're going to a new place like the Promised Land, but if you remember all the things that God has done for you in the past, it's easier to trust that He'll take care of you in the future.
Yeah, and you know what? It's the same for us. God took care of the Israelites, and He takes care of us too. So we should remember the many things He has done. We might not be moving to a promised land, but there are plenty of times where you might feel nervous, like starting school, or going to a new church, or meeting new people for the first time, or moving. And we need to remember all the ways that God has cared for us in the past so that we can trust Him with our future.
Please spend time and remember some of the things God has done for us by doing our Go Home Guide. Pray it, journal it, read it, and draw it.
It has been super fun zooming into the first 5 books of the Bible. We will see you next week as we continue in the Old Testament and start a new series called
Imagination Time Machine!
See y'all next week. Bye!
Bye!